Mallorca 2, Real Madrid 1. Manu Morlanes breaks the deadlock in the 41st minute, Militao pulls it back in the 88th, 1 minute of hope, and then Vedat Muriqi twists the knife in the 90th +1. That is the cruelest possible way to lose a football match, and we are going to spend the next hour telling you exactly how it happened and why it still doesn't feel real.
Son Moix, April 4th, 2026. La Liga title race potentially decided by a late winner from a striker who had been absorbing punishment all night. Álvaro Carreras was Madrid's most active presence on the ball. Mbappé had 2 big chances blocked and saved, and the final whistle left an entire fanbase staring at the ceiling. Welcome to Ruido Blanco. Let's get into it. The fans are not okay this morning. They are not okay. The mood coming out of Son Moix is somewhere between devastated and absolutely furious, and honestly, I can't say I blame them.
Madre mia, Maria. We go to Mallorca. We score in the 88th minute to level it. We think we've stolen a point, and then Muriqi breaks our hearts in the 90th +1. Que barbaridad. The comment sections are a war zone right now.
And the number one target of the anger is exactly who you'd expect. The Mbappé discourse has reached a new low, and I mean that literally. One fan put it bluntly. Without penalties, Mbappé is a player for Valladolid or Yokohama Marinos. That's where we are.
Tio, that one stings because people have been saying some version of it all season, but now it's louder. Another fan said, and I'm translating directly, Mbappé comes back and everything falls apart. I keep saying it, Florentino's obsession is going to cost us, and not just in wages. That's a fan who's been saying this for months and feels completely vindicated right now.
What's interesting is the comparison fans keep making. When Mbappé doesn't start, there's a certain fluidity to how Madrid play. When he's in the XE, something gets disrupted. Fans are noticing it, and they're not wrong to notice it. The stats from this season tell a messy story around his appearances.
And look, we talked before the game yesterday morning about how this was Mbappé's decisive month, right? Well, fans are already delivering their verdict 24 hours later. One comment that's getting a lot of traction just says, "We play better without Mbappé." Full stop. No explanation needed, apparently.
The really painful context is that he started last night. Alexander-Arnold, Camavinga, Güler, Brahim, Mbappé, and Madrid lost. Militao came off the bench and actually scored the equalizer in the 88th, assisted by Alexander-Arnold. So there were moments. But the Mbappé narrative is going to dominate regardless.
Vamos, because Militao's goal made it 1-1 and fans thought, okay, we survived. And then Muriqi happens in the 91st. That's the cruelty of it. You go from relief to despair in about 90 seconds. I've been processing the timeline on a loop and it still doesn't feel real.
Now, let's talk about Vinicius, because fans are also going in on him, but in a slightly different way. One fan pointed out that Maffeo was controlling Vinicius from a distance, leaving him flustered on the bench. He came on at 59 minutes and still couldn't change the game. That's a problem.
And there's a broader fan criticism that's been simmering all season and boiled over last night, that Mbappé and Vinicius play for themselves, not for the team. One fan wrote, and this is translated, "The forwards play for themselves, especially the 2 big names, Mbappé and Vinicius." That's not a fringe take right now. That's a mainstream fan sentiment.
We also called it before the match. Son Moix has been a nightmare ground historically for both of them, and it proved true again. At some point, the pattern becomes the story, Tio.
Exacto. And now let's get to the La Liga discourse, because this is where things get really spicy. The title race reaction from fans is fascinating. It's split between pure despair and a kind of dark cynicism about the whole competition.
Oh, the conspiracy takes are out in full force. One fan with 84 upvotes, that's the top comment in the La Liga discussion, says, "From now until the end of the season, every match will be an attempt by the CTA to decide the league." The CTA being the Spanish refereeing committee. So the refereeing grievance is alive and well.
And then there's the rival fan trolling mixed in, which is kind of funny even when it hurts. One comment goes, "Without invented penalties, the real cheats would be fighting to get into the Conference League." That's an opposition fan having the time of their life this morning, and honestly, you can't stop them.
What I find more interesting is the self-aware Madrid fan take. One person wrote, translated, "These people are so ridiculous that I guarantee Madrid wins the next league game, and they'll start again with the same nonsense. Madrid is back. They're fooling themselves." That's a Madrid fan mocking other Madrid fans' emotional volatility. Very meta.
Ha! It's true though. We've seen it all season. Lose one, crisis, win one, we're back, lose again, end of the world. The emotional cycle of being a Madridista is genuinely exhausting to track.
And that brings us to Arbeloa, because the manager is taking heat this morning too. The dominant fan sentiment is that he's too gentle with the players. One fan said directly, Arbeloa treats these players with kid gloves, that's why they keep getting lost. That's a real frustration building.
There's also a comment addressed to Edu, which is a YouTube channel context, fans writing in, that says something like, "It's very hard to watch games like today's. They take away my desire to watch football, and watching Real Madrid always gives me hope. But this is very tough, knowing what was at stake." You feel the heartbreak in those words, Tio.
Arbeloa himself said after the match that what hurt him most was not putting in a better second half, and that the Mallorca defeat won't affect them against Bayern. Fans are, let's say, divided on whether to believe that.
Some fans are actually leaning into the Bayern pivot hard now. One wrote, "I'm not even thinking about the league anymore. You can see it's been set up so Madrid don't win it. In the Champions League, we can make history again." That's a genuine psychological shift happening in real time.
And there's even a fan predicting a Bayern-style comeback, referencing Bayer Leverkusen coming back from 2-0 down in the 80th minute to win 3-2 last week, saying, the Champions League is going to be wild. The belief in European magic is still there, even after a night like this.
That's the thing about Madridistas. You burn them in the league on a Saturday, and by Sunday night they're already dreaming about a Champions League comeback on Tuesday. It's almost beautiful. Almost. Valverde will be back from suspension for Bayern, and fans are already treating that as a massive boost.
Marca literally ran a headline today saying, "At least Valverde will be there against Bayern," which tells you everything about where confidence in the squad currently sits. One suspension served, one problem temporarily solved. The rest is still very much a mess.
So where does that leave us? The league is slipping away, fans are roasting Mbappé harder than ever, Arbeloa is getting criticized for being too soft, and the only light at the end of the tunnel is Bayern Munich on Monday. Which, honestly, Hala Madrid. Let's go.
Tomorrow morning we'll be back with more fan sentiment building ahead of the Bayern match. 2 days to go, and the Bernabeu faithful are going to have a lot to say. Don't go anywhere. Ruido Blanco is here every morning at 7, Hala Madrid.
Okay, so the fans are furious at Mbappé, furious at Vinicius, furious at Arbeloa for being too soft, and underneath all of that fury is a question nobody can quite answer. How did we lose that game? Because it didn't feel like we deserved to lose it. Maria, you've been running the numbers since full time. What does the data actually say happened at Son Moix?
Here's what the cameras didn't capture, Rafa. Real Madrid lost this match 2-1, but the expected goals said 1.44 for Madrid versus 0.97 for Mallorca. The scoreline is, statistically speaking, a complete lie.
Madre mia, so you're telling me the numbers say we should have won, and we still found a way to lose? That is a uniquely Real Madrid kind of pain right there.
And here is the mechanism of that injustice. Leo Roman, Mallorca's goalkeeper, made 5 saves. Every single one of them came from inside the penalty area. Madrid had 13 shots inside the box to Mallorca's 5. This man was under siege for 90 minutes, and he just refused to be beaten.
13 shots inside the box, Tio. That's not bad luck, that's witchcraft. Roman must have sold something very precious to be standing like that all game.
The numbers give us a precise measure of how extraordinary he was. His shots on target prevented stat came in at plus 0.2684. Meaning he saved roughly a quarter of an expected goal more than an average goalkeeper would have across those same attempts. That difference alone is the difference between a draw and a loss.
So, an average goalkeeper lets at least one more in, we draw at minimum, maybe we win. And instead, we got Leo Roman playing the match of his life? I need a moment. I genuinely need a moment.
Now let's talk about what Arbeloa did at the 59th minute, because the numbers tell a completely different story to the one he was probably telling himself. Madrid were already winning the expected goals battle by a margin of plus 0.474 when he made his triple substitution, bringing on Vinicius Jr., Eder Militao, and Jude Bellingham simultaneously. The data did not demand emergency action. Madrid were already the better team.
So he panicked. He saw 1-0 on the board and he panicked, even though underneath the surface, everything was pointing in our direction. Arbeloa Tio, the scoreboard is not always the truth.
And here is the brutal irony. Arda Güler, who was eventually subbed off at 72 minutes, had completed 4 key passes in under that time, the highest of any player on the pitch. He was operating at a match rating of 7.61. The player Arbeloa removed was Madrid's primary chance creation engine.
4 key passes, and we took him off. That is not a substitution, that is a sabotage. I'm sorry, but someone has to say it.
Eduardo Camavinga had made 5 ball recoveries and won 2 tackles in under 59 minutes. He was the defensive press engine in that midfield. The moment he came off, Madrid lost the mechanism that was disrupting Mallorca's build-up, and Mallorca's manager responded with his own triple substitution at 70 minutes, bringing on Mateo Joseph, the substitute who would assist the winning goal in the 90th minute.
So Arbeloa's chaos created the exact opening that Mallorca needed to put their own substitutes into the game. We basically handed them the blueprint. Venga, this is getting painful.
Here's what the cameras really didn't capture about Mallorca's defensive plan. The interception split was Mallorca 15, Real Madrid 3. They were not pressing Madrid. They conceded 64% possession deliberately and sat in a compact block, cutting off every pass that actually threatened them. Madrid's 88% passing accuracy sounds dominant until you see that Álvaro Carreras, Madrid's most active passer with 81 passes, also had 15 backward passes, the highest on the team. All that possession was going sideways and backwards, straight into Mallorca's trap.
81 passes, and 15 of them were going backwards. So we were basically doing Mallorca's job for them, recycling the ball into nowhere while they sat and waited. That is not football. That is a very expensive form of jogging.
And the final number that ties it all together, Lunin made 0 saves all match. Mallorca barely tested him until the 90th minute. Muriqi, a striker who won 7 of 19 duels all game, absorbing punishment the entire match, delivered one moment when it mattered, and that was the only moment Lunin faced anything real.
So the full story is this. We had the expected goals, we had the shots, we had the possession, we had the better individual players on the pitch, and we lost to a goalkeeper who saved everything inside his own box, a substitution pattern that dismantled our own structure, and a striker who waited 90 minutes to stab us exactly once. That is not a football result. That is a short story about suffering.
And that's the thing, Rafa. The fans are furious this morning, and they're pointing at Mbappé, at Vinicius, at Arbeloa being too soft. They're not wrong to be angry, but the data tells us the anger needs a more precise address. Leo Roman was simply extraordinary. The triple substitution at 59 minutes removed the 2 players, Güler and Camavinga, who were actually running the game. And 88% passing accuracy built on backwards passes is not dominance, it is an illusion of dominance. The suffering was real. The cause of it is more specific than the discourse suggests.
So here's where we land on a Sunday morning that feels like a Monday. The fans feel it in their gut. Something is broken, the structure is wrong, the big names aren't delivering. The data confirms it, but with surgical precision. A goalkeeper who stole a match, a manager who panicked when the numbers said stay calm, and a team that recycled possession beautifully into absolutely nothing. The league is slipping, Bayern is coming, and Ruido Blanco will be here tomorrow morning at 7 with everything you need to know as the countdown to the Bernabeu begins. Hala Madrid, and try to get some sleep.